Hello, I'm Rudi from the Fellowship of Acoustics. We are here at the Fellowship of Acoustics, and in this video we will give you 5 tips and tricks what to do when buying vintage guitars. 1. If you buy a vintage guitar, you have to know why you buy it. Do you want a good sound, or do you want an investment? If you want an investment, it's very important to look for a guitar that's original and in good condition, and they are increasingly harder to find over the years because they are stuck in collections and they are really just gone. Very hard to find in Europe. But originality is very important, so better wait 1-2 years if you want to make a good investment, because it returns in the value. In our shop, it's the fastest selling guitar is the original guitar, despite it's often twice the value of a non-original guitar. 2. Yeah, that's what I said. It's very rare to find a good vintage guitar in Europe. You have to network, follow the groups, internet, social media, Facebook. Facebook has many groups where people gather that love vintage guitars, and if you want to find one, it's often there. On the open marketplace, you have to really watch out. It's better to see a guitar first before you put your money into it. Or you buy here, of course. We find them. We have a large network all over Europe, and since we are doing this for over 20 years, guitars still come to us. One of the things that makes us different from other shops is that everyone working here has a vintage heart, so they know about guitars, they know about originality, lacquer, they recognize cracks, they recognize other problems. Our repair shop is very much knowledgeable as well, and if we find a guitar with a problem, a Gibson with loose braces, or Martin with a crack, we are able to fix it without that you see the repair. That's a small advantage we have. I'm looking forward to see you here. 3. Yeah, understand your intention. I think it's the first thing I said. Understand your intention. Why you want to buy a vintage guitar. Is it only for the sound? Then it doesn't matter if it has a crack or 2 or 3, or I had guitars here that had 15 cracks, were all repaired and sounded awesome. Those guitars are much cheaper, often half the money of a collector grade guitar. Understand why you want to buy guitars, understand how much money you want to put into it. When you buy a guitar for investment reasons, buy a guitar that's as clean as possible. That's really a good investment. I remember my brother, the day I bought that D18 in 1989, a new one at 2,000 guilders, 900 euros. He bought a vintage D18 from 1948. Back then it was 3,500 guilder, that's 1,600 euros, 1,600 euros. He traded it in my shop in 2007. It was lying on the floor. A German guy came in and he said, "How much is that guitar?" And I said, 6,900 euro. And he said, "Then it's mine." It was sold within half an hour at 4 times the price. And that's what a good vintage guitar does. If you don't buy it for investment reasons but only to play, then buy a good guitar that doesn't need work but has some issues. That's half the money. That's half the money of a normal guitar. 4. Yeah, study. That's the thing with vintage guitars. If you want to know about vintage guitars, you have to study, you have to know every detail. You have to go on forums, you have to buy books and read books. It's much harder to read on the internet than in a good book. You have to study and know every detail. It's very important to know the technical details, how you can recognize an original finish, original parts. You have to see pot codes on electric guitars, you have to recognize, you have to be able to read them. Because a Les Paul with non-original pots, that's a big loss. So you need the original pots, the original soldering. You have to recognize the soldering. How can you tell it's original? You have to look at the back of a pickup to see if the original puff pickups are still in the guitar. You have to recognize them, not only by that small puff label, but also by the color and of the steel, all the small details on the screws. So it's very important to study and experience also. Look at the details. Study, study, study. 5. Yeah, sleeper hits. That's a nice one. That's the guitar that got away. Sometimes you can buy guitars from nowadays. That nowadays common and they don't cost a lot of money, but you suspect they will be rare in the future. That's a sleeper hit. It can also be a guitar 10, 20, 30 years old that's still not very expensive. And you suspect it might one day become rare. And we have many examples of those kind of guitars. Often famous people play them and they are related to it. Look at what John Mayer does nowadays, or Ed Sheeran, or whoever. Mostly guitar players. There's not much to tell about sleeper hits. It's just a gut feeling. And that's the thing, you can buy a guitar because you suspect it will be more expensive. Recently we had a 0018 from 1948. About 5 to 10 years ago, those were half the price of a 0018. But nowadays they have gone up really fast in value. That's one of those things. I can't foresee that, but I can suspect that the difference is too small. Another thing is, for instance, the difference between the Les Paul models and semi-hollow models from Gibson. A nice Sunburst ES335 from 1959 is still 1/5 to 1/8 of the value of a Les Paul, and there's no real reason for it. So one of these days it will go up. I hope this is a tip you can use. These were our 5 tips on vintage guitars. I hope you liked it. Keep on watching, and if you like it, subscribe to our videos. Hope to see more of you. Bye.